Welcome to Sun Chunks, the semi-extreme chunk locked series. Before we get into the actual chunk itself, I want to briefly go over the basics if you somehow never heard of a chunk locked account before. The exceptions that I'll be making are a lovely little starting chunk, and of course, my main goal of this series. In order to get you hooked and bait you into pressing that subscribe button, I must have some crazy goal, right? Is it going to involve fame, fortune, maxing, some more drip? No, I yearn for something far greater. To have some fun. Yeah, you heard that right. I'm not playing the game blindfolded. I'm not playing 1 HP permadeath. I'm just here to lock myself in a square and have some fun. If you've somehow never heard of a chunk locked account, there are only a few things that you really need to know. The old school Runescape map is divided into chunks, which are invisible sections of 64 by 64 tiles. You can, however, easily see these sections in game yourself by using the region locker plugin on RuneLite or by using this handy chunk picker website, which I'll talk more about a bit later because it is single-handedly the greatest tool for a chunk locker. As a chunk locked account, you are not allowed to leave your chunks or effectively interact with anything outside of them. If an NPC wanders into your chunk, that's free game, but no telegrabs, no tagging mobs or aggro, no cheating. In order to unlock a new chunk, you must first complete your current one. Completing your chunk does depend on your rule set, but usually consists of obtaining all best slot items, whether that's drops or shop items, all the quest progress that you can do, diary tasks, skilling tasks, the list goes on and on. So you might be thinking, how in the hell am I supposed to keep up with all this? Much less know what all there is to even do in a chunk. Well, that's where the chunk picker website comes in clutch. I'll leave a link to this website below, or you could just Google chunk picker v2, but you can pick from the 3 popular rule sets, customize each rule in more detail, get information on a chunk like item spawns, NPCs, and shops. You can pick and roll new chunks, and more importantly than anything else, it'll easily tell you everything you need to do in your chunks. Give or take a few things for human error, which I actually learned the hard way, but it's an amazing tool. For this series, my rules are roughly based on Limpwort's Extreme rule set, with some adaptations here and there to avoid burnout and make it a little bit more video friendly. You might call it semi-extreme, you might call it more of a vanilla plus. I call it wanting to maintain what little sanity I have left. The biggest things I want to avoid, however, are extremely time-gated grinds like 2 years of potato farming in order to plant a torstal, extremely rare drops like the 1 in 5013 curved bone, and pretty much any form of a meme grind. This is a pretty loose definition, but what I mean by a meme grind are things like 99 construction from the fishing trawler, 99 smithing from the Motherwood mine struts. And for an example that might actually happen at some point in the series, I will not be doing the Coliseum butt-ass naked with a steel weapon. I mean, I would definitely try it once or twice, but I'm just not that good at the game, sorry. Oh, do you hear that? It's finally time to talk about our starting chunk. Located in the beautiful region of Varlamore, the Sunset Coast is the perfect vacation hot... What? This isn't for the ad? That's at 2 o'clock? Oh, this one's for the chunk series? The Sunset Coast is the perfect starting chunk, well, at least according to my criteria for picking one out. The chunk had to be located in Varlamore because I really like the content here and that's where I wanted to start. Nobody else, at least anyone that I could find, is making a YouTube series starting here. And finally, the chunk has access to a charter ship, so in the future I can reach the starting place of the sailing skill, which from what I understand is Port Sarim. Normally you wouldn't even roll charter ship chunks unless there was no other way of accessing that chunk, but what I'm going to be doing for the series is sticking to unlocking Varlamore chunks exclusively, and then once the sailing skill comes out, that is going to be my only way of leaving Varlamore. But I am getting a bit ahead of myself. Of course, to actually make it to Varlamore in the first place, I have to make one more exception. The Children of the Sun quest. Unfortunately, this is the only way to unlock Varlamore, which means a few extra music tracks unlocked and a quest in the tracker completed, but I promise that this is going to be the last exception. If you've never done the Children of the Sun quest before, I'll give you my very quick guide. Talk to one of these 2 NPCs here in Varrock, follow this suspicious looking guard around, return to the Varrock Square and talk to the sergeant, mark these 4 bandits that are posing as guards, talk to the sergeant yet again, and that is the Children of the Sun quest complete. Now we can make our way over to Varlamore, but first I'll be taking the coins out of the bank and dropping all of this tutorial island garbage. But just take this little birdie over, and now we'll have to walk all the way down to the Sunset Coast, and hope we avoid unlocking too many more music tracks. Alright, we made it down here without dying, which turns out there's jaguars and snakes back there, but I have all the plugins set up now. Welcome to our new home and the perfect place for a cliffhanger. Just kidding, we're not having a cliffhanger already. Welcome to the Sunset Coast. Since this is going to be our new home for a little while, why don't we do a lap around the chunk and check out what all it has to offer before I talk about the tasks we have to complete in order to actually leave this chunk. Wait, I'm an Ironman, so I can't pick up this fishing net? Someone dropped this here? Is this a bug? Oh, look at this, an iron bar spawn. I can't use this unless somehow I get 15 smithing, but it's a very interesting item to have in our back pocket. As for the shop, Thurid's Brain Buckets, also known as helmets. We can get ourselves a nice adamant full helm here. And we also have the general store, so we can buy some basic tools and I guess sell all these items that I've plundered. 29 GP for everything we have here in the chunk. I know some of those didn't actually sell anything, but 11 coins for that iron bar is pretty good actually. So good in fact that I'm going to sit here and collect some for some starting capital. And while I do that, let's go ahead and talk about what we need to complete in this chunk in order to unlock the next one. For our first task, we need 1 cooking in order to cook a cooked rabbit, which of course we already have. We just need the GP in order to buy a raw rabbit from the charter shop. In order to get that GP, we could also do our next task, which is 1 thieving in order to pickpocket a citizen, which I will be doing in a little bit, but I'm not sure how fast the GP per hour from pickpocketing is going to be at level 1 compared to just picking up these iron bars. And for the final skilling task, we need 30 defense in order to wear a piece of adamant armor. This is going to mean a lot of dead seagulls. As for the item tasks, we need unarmed for our best in slot melee weapon. I'm not really sure why this is even a task on the website, but it's a freebie, so I'm not complaining. As for the melee best in slot helm, an adamant full helm, and the best slot ranged head, an adamant medium helmet, we can buy both of these from Thurid's Brain Buckets for about 7,000 GP. Not too crazy, but it is going to take quite a lot of pickpockets or quite a few iron bars. That's a tidy 135 GP from all that world hopping, which is not great. I did realize, by the way, that a bronze pickaxe, or bronze axe, because they're basically the exact same, is our best in slot melee weapon, rather than just being unarmed. Little bit of an oversight from the chunk picker website, maybe because these chunks are so new, but that is our first task completed. Okay, 50 coins for a raw rabbit is just ridiculous. I don't know what the burn rate is, but that's like 7 world hops a pop. Okay, thankfully we got it on the first try. I did check. That is a 50-50 chance to burn or not at level 1 cooking, but that is super easy task number 2 complete. And this cooked rabbit sells back for 1 GP. What a scam. We might as well knock out super easy task number 3 and get ourselves a nice 3 GP. And now finally, the real meat and potatoes of this chunk. Killing several hundred seagulls for 30 defense. Since it would be extremely slow to kill these with 1 attack and 1 strength the whole way, I'll be leveling those first in order to greatly reduce the time to kill. I'm not sure what levels I'll reach by the end of this, but enjoy the Great Seagull Massacre of 2024. Welcome back from Seagull Hell. That was 538 according to the loot tracker. 25 hit points, 7 attack, 25 strength, 15 prayer from the bones, and of course, level 30 defense. But there was something that I didn't account for, which happened early on during the grind. An Evil Bob random event, which brought us all the way from 1 to 10 fishing. This is extremely scary for reasons I'll explain toward the end of the video, but for now, we have one teensy little obstacle to overcome, and that is the 7,000 GP required in order to buy our adamant helmets. Level 9 thieving, I've already been doing a bit of thieving here and there in between the seagulls, but I figured that even if the iron bar might be faster GP per hour, it would still be really nice to get my thieving level up. If anything important happens, you'll see me then, and if not, I'll see you when I have 7,000 coins. We have a Molly random event here, which normally I wouldn't bother with. However, this should get us some gems, which may or may not sell for a good amount in the shop, and I'm all about getting that GP right now. 3 uncut sapphires, not great. I'll stack these up for now, and we'll see if they're worth anything later. We finally breached our very first 1,000 GP cash stack. I know for 99.9% of people that doesn't really mean a lot, but for 3 coin pickpockets, this is insane. There's level 21 thieving already, but what I'm here for is a total level of 150. Finally got another XP random event. I am probably going to put these on smithing, since if I get 15, I'll be able to use this iron bar, and that would be pretty handy. But for now, they'll just sit in my inventory. I've been noticing the occasional imp wander through here. It's not on the chunk picker website, so I don't think it counts for any tasks, but I will try and get a wizard hat. I don't know if it has any other good drops that should be task related. But these are really annoying to kill because they keep teleporting like all the way to the other side. So I have to walk all the way around. And it's really kind of bad with 1 agility. Hey, we got our first bead. I can't actually bank these since I don't have a bank, but if I get all of them and get a Leo random event, I can use the deposit box in that. So I'll collect these just because I can, but losing 4 inventory slots, I better get that event soon. Hey, there's level 30 thieving coming in. I'm very close to being able to afford 1 helmet, and I think selling it back for the second one. All right, there's the adamant medium helm for the task acquired. I can't sell it back because it's understocked. Okay, the wiki has bamboozled me. It says the buyback price is 1,152 coins. It's actually 768, so I can't sell it back and afford the other helmet. So a little bit more thieving to go. All right, sell it back. Buy the adamant full helm. And that is our final chunk task completed. Hello, very future me speaking here to inform you that I made a huge oopsie daisy with this account. During the grind, I was killing the occasional imp that wandered in, and at some point I realized that the imp spawn was actually located within my chunk. The good news is that I tried to include it in the task and got the beads and the wizard hat drop. The bad news is that the 1 in 64 bread dough and the 1 in 64 water jug drops meant that I was supposed to get 58 cooking. I didn't realize this until way later on in the next chunk, which actually made this 100 times easier, so GG, my extreme status is already tarnished. But big oopsie daisy aside, let's get to the chunk rolling. Here on the chunk picker website, in order to officially mark off our task and finally roll the next chunk, 1 cooking completed, 30 defense also completed, 1 thieving very completed. Of course, we obtained all of our best in slot items. And as for the chunk roll itself, we have a very straightforward guaranteed roll of the 1 chunk to the east. The northern chunk is just out of reach due to the cliff. And like I've said somewhere at the start of the video, the charter ship is off limits until the release of sailing. As for the 1 chunk we can roll, it shouldn't be too difficult. However, one thing I did notice is that at any point, if I reach level 16 fishing from Evil Bob randoms, it will unlock a very, very long 76 fishing grind. But for the sake of it, I'll still press this pick chunk button, which unlocks the Sunset Cove. And in order to see the chunk tasks, you'll have to bear with this cliffhanger and come back in the next episode. Thanks for watching episode 1. As always, I want to give a huge shout out to the channel members, NPZ and Distro at the Drip Enjoyer tier, and Johnny, our resident drip expert. You guys are absolute legends and help me fund my Runescape addiction. If you want to get your name here, click that join button below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.